Hello everybody, this is Howard the Teaser King coming to you with week 4 of the NFL already. We're a month into it. I've got a lot of good games here. I've got 2 locks, 2 very strong games. Not too many over-unders. Things are becoming much more clear. The trends are there. Now the teams are playing true to form, where before, since they don't play the preseason, it takes 2 or 3 weeks for the teams to get their timing down and figure out, understand everything. And what's funny is you get all these guys getting injured because they didn't go to training because there was no game. They didn't play in the games. Everybody's got a hamstring and all these injuries, and it's basically because they're not ready to play. You can't not run and then run a 10-mile race, and that's what they're doing. These guys, they baby them in the exhibition season. They don't play them at all in the 4th game. And then here's the first game. Say, okay, play 4 quarters. And they played 1 or 2 quarters in the 3rd game and nothing in the 4th game because they're worried about injuries. Well, guess what? It's football. Everybody gets injured in football. So get over it. And, look at Teddy Bridgewater got hurt in practice. Some of these guys get hurt in practice. Some of them get hurt in the game. Guess what? They're all going to get hurt. So they might as well be in football shape and play and not baby them like, oh, they can't play because it's exhibition. And then they all get hurt and hamstrings in the 1st and 2nd week. I'm looking at the Antonio Gates hamstring. Keenan Allen blows his knee out because he's not ready. So a lot of these teams, J.J. Watt, he's out for the year. He didn't play in the preseason. It doesn't help you. His injury might be a little different, but most of the problem is the quarterbacks aren't in timing with the receivers because it's got to be game. Practice is not game speed. So now we're starting to get the flow. So let me give you a game here. All right, Baltimore is laying 3.5 to Oakland. Let's get inside the numbers. All right, from the last 2 years, well, from 2015 plus the first three weeks of 2016, Baltimore as a home favorite is 3-3. Bet against 6-0 means when Baltimore is a home favorite, you bet the other team, you're 6-0. That's just from 2015 and here. A lot of the things with Flacco didn't play a lot, so you got to understand that, but still 6-0 against. Let's look at Oakland as a road dog. Oakland is 7-0 as a road dog last year and this. Now that they got Amari Cooper and they got Derek Carr, they got some defensive help. Now they're much better. And if you notice, the beauty of my whole theory is now the trends show. If you didn't know it, you don't know Baltimore. Who knows Baltimore is 6-0 as a bet against home favorite? Besides me, who knows it? Nobody. Besides me, who knows Oakland is 7-0 as a road dog? Nobody. Because I'm doing teaser trends. This is why I do teasers. Because I want Oakland. If I don't do teasers, Oakland might be 4-3 as a road dog. In a teaser, they're 7-0 as a road dog. So I'm taking maybe a 60% trend, turning it into a 100% trend. Now how comfortable are you taking Oakland as a road dog as a 7-0 road dog versus maybe a 4-3 without a teaser? That's why when people say, oh, I don't bet teasers, I look at them like it turns a 50 or 60% trend into a 100% trend. How are you more apt to bet a trend that's 100% versus a trend that's 60%? It's huge. That's my whole point. Why did I lock San Diego? San Diego against Indy. San Diego is, 24-3 as a road dog the last 5 years. And here they go. They went as a road dog week 1 or 2. We bet them. They won easy. And here against Indy, they had the lead 22-20. You're getting 8-9 points, somewhere more than a touchdown. Who cares? Indy puts a late win, wins 26-22. Who cares? You're sitting up 29-20 with 2 minutes left in the game. This game's over. You don't have to sweat it out. You don't care they scored. But had you not played the teaser and you had a 1.5 or 2, you lost. That's why we play teasers. That's the point I make It's probably a little bit different in the pros because the games are a little bit closer. They're just trying to win. In college, they're trying to put up 50 points. So that's why it's a little bit easier to do teasers in the pros than the college. But again, in the college, you can figure it out. And you're laying 20 with the team that scores 50, like a Louisville or like a Western Kentucky when they're on, or Bowling Green, or these teams that run the Baylor offense, TCU, Texas Tech, Texas. They'll put up 50 on you. So if you're laying 20, boom, you don't have to worry about it. Here, you don't get that. So that's what I'm looking at. So let's go back a year to 2014 to 2016. And Baltimore is 11-3 as a home favorite bet against. Baltimore's 9-6 since 2014 as a home favorite. So a home favorite 15 times, they win 9, they lose 6. If you go against them, it's 11-3. Now in 14, Flacco did play, so you got Flacco stats in here. So here's Baltimore bet against 11-3 is 79%. Oakland 11-4, 12-4 as a road dog. So you can see where they improve, and this is the beauty of why I go back a few years in the stats. Now I can see where Oakland was 11-4, but if you just look at the last year and 3 games, they're 7-0 as a road dog. So the loss came in 14, and now in 15 and 16, they're a better team. They don't lose as a road dog. Baltimore overall stat, you're gonna really flip when you see this. You bet against Baltimore since 2015. Anything, it's 17-2 against. Meaning, of the 19 games played, the 16 last year and 3, you bet against Baltimore, you won 17, you lost 2, which is 90%. Since 14, it's 28-9. It's about 77%. So again, you can see where I got stats, and I'm betting a much stronger trend with these teaser trends than anybody else. Nobody else knows this or understands it. They're all looking at the game straight. And if you're looking at the game straight, I'm sure you don't have a 17-2 trend of betting against Baltimore. That's my point. So that's really what you're looking at. So again, Oakland, big dog. Baltimore is a big bet against team. There you go. First half of your teaser. Bet Oakland plus 9.5. Second half of the teaser, Pittsburgh plays Kansas City. Pittsburgh's laying 5.5. Why so much? Kansas City's a good playoff team. Pittsburgh's a good team. Got their asses kicked by Philadelphia last week. Who does TEASERKING like? Well, I look at the game with no points, and I say, Pitt plays KC. It's a pretty even game. I'm going to take the dog. All right, so let's do my analysis. So since 15, let's look at Pitt as a home favorite. Not bad. 6-1 as a home favorite. 17-4 overall. 4-3 against as a home favorite. 13-7 against. So not a big trend against. Looks like a good home favorite. Let's look at Kansas City. 6-1 as a road dog. 17-4 overall. And if you add in when they're a road favorite, they're 11-1 on the road the last year and 3 games. So if you take Kansas City anytime on the road as a favorite or a dog, it's 11-1, and they're 17-4 against the number, which is identical to Pitt's 17-4. So what you're saying is Pitt will probably win, but KC will cover. And in a teaser, they both, Pitt can win by 2, and everybody wins. That's the beauty of the teaser. Also, you could play the game, and both sides in a teaser would win. Try to do that with a straight bet. So let's go back to 14. Pitt 10-4 is a home favorite. 10-4 bet against. They're looks like 28-10 betting on them. 25-12 betting against them. So nothing really on Pitt. But let's look at Kansas City. Kansas City is a road dog, 12-1. Is a road favorite, 6-1. 18-2 on the road, which is well over 90%, taking Kansas City. And overall, They're 30-7 or an 82-83% if you bet on Kansas City. So Kansas City's a hot team. They're a great road dog. Some teams, this is why I break it out into home and road and favorite and dog and play with and play against. I'm looking for personality. Some teams hate the road, some teams love the road. Some teams want to be favored, some teams like it as the dog. Here, Kansas City loves it as a dog, 12-1, loves it on the road, 18-2. So Pitt, not as strong. They're 10-4 as a home favorite, play or play against. But look at Kansas City now. You're talking 12-1 road dog, and you're talking 30-7 overall. And we can go back to 2013. And let's see, Pitt, it's only 12-6 as a home favorite, 37-14 overall, about 73%. 13-5 bet against as a home favorite, 72%. 34-17 overall. Well, let's look at Kansas City since 2013. 14-1 is a road dog, 12-1 is a road favorite, 26-2 on the road, and 40. What do we got? 3. They're now 45-9, 85% if you bet Kansas City in a teaser since 2003. 45-9. 14-1 is a road dog. It might be 15-1. I think they were a road dog earlier this year, and this sheet might not have been updated. But I'm not sure. They had to have been on the road between week 1, 2, or 3. So let's call that, it's 45-9 overall, and let's say 27-2 on the road in a teaser. There you go. Take an Oakland, Kansas City teaser. I'd say call it 7 units or a 7 trend. So basically what you're looking at is if you bet $1,000 and your unit's $20, maybe you bet 100 on this game. Maybe if it's a 5-unit play and I'm not as comfortable with it, you maybe bet 50 or 60 on it. This would be a teaser, Oakland, Kansas City. You might bet 70 or 100 on it with a $1,000 bankroll, provided, let's see what happened on Saturday. If you had a good Saturday, you can maybe play it for 100. If you got your 1,000 up to, let's say, 1,200, you might play this for 150. If you had a bad Saturday, you might play it for 75. But I would definitely keep it in mind on Saturday. See, what many people do, which is a mistake, is they get caught up in the Saturday's action. Now here comes Sunday. Here's this great play, Kansas City, Oakland teaser. And they got no money left because they blew it all Saturday. Don't do that. Limit your Saturday action. Bet it a little bit early, a little bit late, and then here's this beautiful Oakland, Kansas City teaser that you can play, and I don't know, play it for $70, $100, depending on your bankroll. I'll probably have it for 200 or so. My bankroll's a little higher, and again, it depends on how I do Saturday. If I really hammer Saturday, and I'm loving Saturday, I got 2 locks and 2 strong plays Saturday, 2 locks on Sunday. These aren't even 2 of the locks. I have 2 locks that are stronger than these 2 plays. If you can believe that. If you can believe I have a play stronger than Kansas City, and there's Oakland against a weak Baltimore home favorite, you can believe I have 2 stronger plays, and that's how I do it. And it's basically, you're looking at my play. This is why I get surprised when I lose, and I don't lose often. I mean, last week I was 8-3, and like Pitt Philly was a very small unit that, I played it because just the dynamic, because Pitt was 17-3 in a teaser, but they're not a good road favorite. So I wouldn't have played it for a lot anyway, but that was one of my losers. So it's probably like an 8-2 week. If I'm really looking for that game, I'm not playing Pitt last week, but I like to give options. So I mean, even with Pitt, I'm 8-3 last week. I'm 10-3 the week before, and 10-1 the first week. So my worst week's 8-3 in the pros, and you can see how I do so successful. In college, I don't get this as much because the team, it's weird in college because you'll play, Michigan will play like Hawaii or these really weak teams or Brother Rice High School, and then they play Ohio State. So they're all over the board playing very weak teams, and then they play the stronger teams. Where in the pros, everybody's a pro. So you're not getting, it's not like, Pittsburgh Steelers are playing Temple. They don't play Temple in a regular season game. They play pro teams. So the trends are the trends. The only asterisk you put is like Flacco was out or somebody gets injured, then you've got to adjust and make a note. Hey, yeah, they were 10-5, but Russell Wilson was hurt for 5 of the games, and you almost do with Russell Wilson in and without Russell Wilson, or with Tom Brady and without Tom Brady. But even that, injuries really aren't that key of a factor. I mean, look at these new quarterbacks coming in winning. So it really doesn't. They're all pros, let's say. So if they're all pros, so when the backup quarterback comes, so Chicago loses their quarterback, the backup comes in, he's still a pro quarterback. So you're not really losing that much from that. The only exceptions would be Manning or Brady when they're hurt, they're not playing, and then the backup's really not that good. But otherwise, most of these teams, the starter goes out and the backup comes in. He's a pro, and it's really not that big of a deal. But the way I do it is I categorize where the team's strong is. Kansas City. Look at this Kansas City. I mean, they're 14-1 or 15-1 as a road dog, but as a home favorite, you'd think they'd be great. They're 14-6. They're 70% as a home favorite. So they're not as strong of a home favorite as they are a road dog. They like playing on the road. They like being underdogs. That's their personality. So that's what you look for. Each team has a personality. Some are terrible, like Jacksonville and Tennessee, and you bet against them all the time. Some of them, like here, Kansas City, San Diego, they go on the road as the dog, and you bet them, and you bet them, and you bet them, and they win. And that's really what you're looking for in the teaser. You're absolutely turning a 60-70% trend into a 90 or 100% trend with the extra 6 points. You know the personality. You know Kansas City, you see them as a road dog, you're going to bet them. No problem. Unless they're maybe at New England, you might pull off. But if they're at anybody else, in this case they're at Pittsburgh, you play them and you don't. You know it's a good play. It's not 100%, and that's why, like, some people I look at funny, like you have an average week where Kansas City loses and Oakland loses. You're betting 90% trends, and they don't understand it. They're like, oh, you don't know what you're doing. I'm like, yeah, I know what I'm doing. It's 90%. So 9 out of 10 they're going to win. There's that 10% they don't. Now, when you're running good, they hit. When you're running bad, it's the one time they lose. But you're betting 90% trends all the time, and I'm smart enough to figure out where the trends are. Where do you bet each team or bet against them? It seems like the good teams, the playoff teams, are the teams you bet, and the bad teams, the Tennessees, the Jacksonvilles, Cleveland, you're betting against. You're like, where are they? Bet against them. So that's what you look for. And I have all those trends. Again, if you can buy the picks, or you can buy me as an advisor, and I'm $50 a week, or we can work on a monthly or yearly charge. You can ask me the games. You can say, give me the trends. And I could say, okay, who do you like? And here's your trend for it. And it's very easy. I got it all in Excel. So I got every game by year, by team. So it's all personality. And so basically, you want to play, Detroit, you want to play Green Bay, Philadelphia, whoever you want to play. But you got to see, but the difference is I'm doing it in a teaser trend. I've got the 6 points in each way, if you bet them or bet against them. And versus, if you just look at the thing, you're not getting the teaser line, you're getting the regular line, and it's much more difficult to get a high percentage play. Here I get you a 90% Kansas City play, but if you just took the game without the points, it's maybe 60 or 70%, and it's not as attractive to you, and you probably don't play it. Anyway, this should be a huge week. I love these college and I love the pro games. Uh, 2 locks in each and at least 2 or 3 more strong college games, which I've given you, and at least 5 other pro games that I probably could lock. I could probably lock the 2 I gave you. I'm not locking them, but it's a very strong play I just gave you. Why do I give it to you? I want you to win. I want you to make money. I still want you to come to the site and get all the games. I don't want you to just come take the freebie and say thanks and that's it. But I understand if you want to do that. But again, I'm interested in the long season, in the whole picture, in making you money. I've got guys telling me they've made $5,000 on my free picks. I've got guys telling me they make more money on my picks winning than they make in a year in salary. So I get everything there. I get guys making a lot of money, and I'm very happy for that. And I'm very happy for them, and that's why I do this. So like I said, I'm an analyst. I'm a mathematician. I'm not really here to sell. I would like to make money at it, obviously. And I do this extremely well, much stronger analyst than 99% of the handicappers. One guy showed me in an email is the handicapper, and he gave me 5 or 6 games. 3 units, 4 units. I don't even know what it means, how much you bet on them. And the guy was like 20%. He says, "Well, I only paid $30." And I said, "Well, you get what you paid for. If this guy doesn't know what he's doing," he says, "and I lost a ton, and I helped him on a game." He says, "It's the first time I've ever won, and I helped him pick the game." And he used one of my methods, which is to bet the loser back. But it's just a method, and it doesn't always work. It's a method in concert, and it should only be the good teams. It can't be like like Tennessee. They always are off a loss. You can't bet them. You can only bet a strong team off of a loss playing a relatively weak team. So if let's say Cincinnati's off a loss, but they're playing New England, you can't say Cincinnati's going to win off of a loss because they got New England. Now, if Cincinnati off a loss is playing Tennessee or Jacksonville, then you can bet Cincinnati back because they should pound that team. But if you're playing it off of if you're playing it straight, in other words, you're just saying, "Oh, Cincinnati lost, I'm going to play them," you're going to get in a lot of trouble depending on who they play. So it's got to be a weaker team because they'll be motivated. They don't want to lose 2 straight. But you can't just play it. You got to look at who the opponent is. Now, if it's a weak opponent, yes, you look at that. You look at revenge games too, more so in college. But you try to look for the factors that the team's going to play better. You think the team would play great every week, but they don't. They're only human, so they have a bad week, and then they come back with a good week. Then they relax after a win, and they lose. Then they get fired up for losing. So the better teams are more consistent. They have the better quarterback, coach, and defense, and that's really what it's all about. All right, everybody, good luck to you. www.teaserking.com. Advisor for $50. You can have the picks. Very, very strong weekend I look for. Look at my masterpiece from my body of work from the whole year. You can look at week 1, I go 12-2. I mean, you can look last week, I go 12-7 in college and 8-3 in the pro. So don't just look at 1 week and say, "Oh, yeah, he's okay." Look at the whole year. Look at last year. I leave last year's history out there just to show you over a volume of weeks that I won a lot for the year. So that's what I'm trying to present. All right, everybody, have a great night and good luck to you. And should be a huge weekend. Very strong matchups, as I just pointed out, in college and pros. All right, everybody, have a nice day.